Hello and welcome back. It's been a minute. I always say that because it's always been a while since we've recorded an episode of your favorite movie podcast, Creed Got Robbed. A tragedy we will never forget. A day that will live in infamy. My name is Mike. I'm your host. I'm joined by my friend Ray. And we are gathered here today to obviously never forget the tragedy of Creed Got Robbed. You know, of Creed. It's a great movie. It's a wonderful flick.
I think we covered before. It is a good movie.
Yeah. It just, I just like to remind people why it's called that, and who knows, maybe something else in pop culture gets thoroughly robbed, I'll have to change the name of the podcast. Who knows? I know Josh is a big defender of Crash, which is a movie
Really?
I personally think is garbage. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to rename the podcast Crash is Garbage. I'm legit thinking about it, but we'll get there when we get there.
Brief aside, when I saw the movie Crash, I didn't get what the hype was because I get the social commentary it's trying to make, but it's so ham-fisted and forced that I can't appreciate it at all.
Especially because it was weird in 2006 or whatever, and just going back now, it would probably just be even worse. Look, Sandra Bullock hugged her maid. Oh my God, she stopped racism. It's like, no, actually, oh boy, okay.
It hasn't aged well.
It has not aged well.
Did you know there's a mini-series about that movie? I'm not even fucking with you. No.
Well, I really wish you actually didn't tell me that.
You now know, and you're gonna Google it later. And there's last I checked in on it, there was a 5-episode miniseries or something like that. I haven't watched an episode.
Oh my God, why?
I don't, because it won awards. That's why. I don't know how or why.
Oh boy.
Social commentary was easy back in 2006. You just made forced racism movies.
Woof. Well, I don't know how we segue into this, but speaking of movies that are actually good that have come out recently, Ray and I have both recently. It's been a couple weeks since it came out, but we're here to talk about It, Stephen King's horror classic, turned into a part one of a two-part series as they've kind of split up the timelines.
Wait,
the book. And
should we say is this spoiler worthy? Okay, are we good?
Yes. The timeline thing isn't really a spoiler. But yeah, there are going to be spoilers to this film from now on, so be advised.
Cool. I like to give that warning for those that haven't watched it yet.
I know, this is true, because it's still pretty new.
Yeah. You can still catch it in theaters by the time this goes up.
Exactly. So, in case, if you're listening to this, you've probably seen the movie. You know the basics. Kids in, kind of 1980s Maine town do battle with scary murder force that is usually personified as a clown. And there's a lot going on here. Just as to start off, Ray, what did you think? I guess what's your baseline impression, and then we'll kind of dig into our favorite things that we enjoyed or thought were really special.
So it depends on what part of the movie that I was at. I like to use a five-star system, and personally, by the time the movie ended, I give it a solid 4 out of 5 stars. But if you ask me while the movie was going halfway through, it was 2.5 because there's a point in my mind where I'm if I'm watching a movie and there's ever a point where I check my watch, your movie's doing something wrong. And there were points in this movie where I was I get it. Here's the kid's alone. Pennywise is going to come out and do a scary thing, and then the kid's going to be fine. And
there is. Yeah, I think there that was kind of one thing I felt too. Is there is definitely a point where it's okay, well, this happens, and then it happens for this kid, and this kid, and then this kid, and I mean, it's all scary, but it's just after a while, it's kind of like this. It feels kind of samey. So I definitely know. I think that was definitely something, kind of one of my minor nitpicks about the movie. It was just sometimes it was just like it just felt kind of like, okay, we've been doing this a while. I'd like some change here, but
yeah, it just kept jumping from like kid to kid to kid, gets their own little jump scare horror thingy, and every time that happened, it was like, maybe I'm not the audience because I felt kind of bored near the middle of the movie. But that said, towards the end, and then as the movie kept going, I started nodding my head, and I was like, all right, okay, I see where you're going, movie.
yeah,
I see what
and
you're
like
doing.
I think once the kids kind of get all like together,
Yeah.
it definitely kind of gets going. That's when it really gets going. But there are some, man, and just like
Did you find it scary? Real quick, did you
Yes, I
actually
did.
find the movie scary?
yes, I mean it's not I don't think it's like the scariest movie I've seen. I don't think, but it's a damn thrill ride. Like it was. There were some. I mean, because even some of the scares, like you might have seen it a little bit from the trailer. I was kind of
I actually avoided the trailers, all of them. I went to this one.
So
fresh.
some of them are like some of them were shown in the trailer, so I was like ready for them, but it's still they I don't know if they like did this intentionally, but they definitely held a lot of stuff back. So like the projector scene, I was like, oh, this is really good. Like when I saw it in the trailer, and then it keeps going in the movie, and I'm like, oh, do we need to stop this right now? Okay.
So that was my favorite scene in the movie. That entire 3-4 minute scene from the beginning of when they're in the garage to the end when the garage door opens. I thought that was the best piece of psychological horror cinema I've seen in 20 years. Because it was the only thing I've ever seen in a movie that legitimately scared me. Because I didn't know what was going to happen. And by the time the reveal, and again, I guess we're talking spoilers, when you see it's just a 20-story tall Pennywise in the garage smiling at the kids, and then the next flash he's baring his sharp teeth, and the next flash he's crawling real fast. I was like, and I said out loud in the theater with the person I was sitting with, I was like, this is beautiful. This is like great set pieces. Oh my god, I'm actually like, my heart is racing.
Yeah, definitely. That was a part where I was just like, because in the trailer, like it shows him all like in the projection, which is like still pretty scary, and then it's like, click,
Yeah.
click, and I'm just like, oh wait, this is still going. Oh no, okay, and I guess going off of that, like, the actor Bill Skarsgård who played Pennywise, I thought he did I mean, it's a weird role. But I think he did a really good job of like, I mean, because just like all the weird stuff they had him doing, because, like he did a really good job of being like this weird creature's like impression of a clown.
Yeah.
Like, cause it's very cause like the Tim Curry like clown was, I mean, cause he was just like he just looked like a clown, like it just. But then, like, would go to be scary and stuff. But like this one was just like, it was something trying to imitate a clown.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was just like unsettling, and like he was just like he had a really weird like energy. I thought was always like really, it was really interesting, like, and really really effective, and just like the weird stuff when he's like waving with the arm, he's like It's just
that's become a meme.
A lot of great stuff.
That's
like
a meme on the internet now. The whole waving with the arm thing after he licks the arm, the hands fingers, the disembodied hands fingers. It's not hard to find.
Yeah, and I guess what are some other things I really enjoyed?
A small tangent.
I thought the kids were
before you go into the things you really enjoyed about the current movie. Did the original movie or movie miniseries did that scare you as a kid?
Yeah, it was pretty scary.
Okay, I feel like again, I was not scared by it because Tim Curry trying to be a scary clown. When I saw this movie as a child, I just thought it was a hilarious movie because there was no scenes in it that I could see that were particularly like.
It was very different because it just like just because like how he would like kind of snap.
Yeah.
Versus this 2017 it is just always like you can always tell it's just like it's a weird like it's never like truly like approachable or like oh this is like it's just always creepy. Ugh.
Yeah, this one I found I was actually I was taken aback at how many parents brought their kids to this movie. Because even as an adult, I'm like, you fuck them up. If I saw this movie as a child, I'm like that woman paint that when Pennywise was imitating that woman in a painting that would fuck with Sam, the Jewish kid. I'm like, if I saw that as a kid, that fucks me up for 10 years straight. There's nothing you that part in the sewer where it's like it's running really fast and the teeth flash and you just see it bite his face. I'm like, that's it. As a child, I'm done. That's nightmares. That you're having me
like, no, I'm good.
You're having me wet the bed for 4 years.
He's like, well, okay, all right, yeah. I guess just one thing I was really surprised by this movie because like because I'm about like a third of the way through. I was working on the book for a while.
Really?
And
wow.
one of the I was really I mean I knew this was an R-rated movie going in, but I was curious to see like if they would like pull any punches or anything. And then like the first 5 minutes, like Georgie's arm just gets like bitten off.
Yeah.
And he's like crawling away from the sewer, like screaming for Bill. I'm like, oh, this is horrible. Like I was really surprised, and I guess like it was pretty. It was pretty cool that they didn't kind of pull any punches there. I
really liked that scene. Because it was so unassuming from what the original movie did. It's kind of like a tell, honestly, to those that had watched the original movie and thought this would be kind of like the same ho-hum Tim Curry type of clown. And then it says, no, motherfucker, there's going to be gore in this movie. We are not afraid to kill a child, and we're going to show what's doing it.
Yeah, and I guess kind of go on. Just another thing I really enjoyed. I thought all the kids were pretty good. I wish some of them had more time, just because I think seeing them interact and like kind of get development was like the parts of the movie I really enjoyed. So I obviously just could have used more of them. I know it doesn't have to be like, I don't want to make it too long, the movie too long or anything, but I thought they all did a great job.
Oh yeah, great child actors. Richie is my man. He made that movie into like the comedy of the year. I could not stop laughing.
Yeah, it's a real like you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll have a bunch of jokes about New Kids on the Block.
Yeah,
rock fight.
What you think that was trying to be a forced meme? The New Kids on the Block, constant references.
I don't think it was a forced meme, but I definitely I loved how like this movie wasn't afraid to do some kind of weird stuff, like when they're in Ben's room and he's kind of showing them all this research, and then like Bev pushes the door back and shows the poster, and it's just like doo, like some weird like some 80s style like music video thing, and it's like what? And then it just never does anything like that ever again. It's kind of fun that they had stuff like that.
Oh, it's a great coming of age movie as well. They of course. Well, go ahead.
Because and like you were saying, I think it is a good coming of age movie, just because the theme of like the book is, I mean, not only is there like this, supernatural killer that preys on fear and children, there's also, I mean, it's also kind of a commentary on like systematic violence that people who are quote grown-ups ignore or like are willfully ignorant of. And I think this movie did a good job of like the adults were definitely like not good people. Like there's not a single adult in this movie who you would call like a good character. The best you can do is probably neutral.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's like the adults are all hard on them for like almost no reason.
Yeah. Um. So I you kind of got a little bit of the sense there that is like that there's kind of a blindness, like a societal blindness to this horrible thing that keeps happening and happening. But I kind of wish it had delved a little bit more into that. Maybe that's what they'll explore in part 2. But I did think it was when they did kind of imply like kind of the bystander effect of
Yeah.
like being the real evil. I thought that was pretty well done and pretty kind of like chilling to see them kind of grapple with too.
To that point, in the original movie, now I haven't read the book, and because it's a huge ass book.
Yes,
something like 1,100 pages or something like that.
it's a read.
It's it's an afternoon,
Read.
if you will. Apparently, Beverly in the classic movie that came out in the 80s alludes that the townspeople are in on it, and they know every 20 years Pennywise is going to kill a fuckload of kids, but that keeps Pennywise from killing everyone else in town. So they allude to that in the movie, in the classic movie. I don't know if that's in the book. And I don't know if that's where they're going to go in the eventual part 2. It's kind of like an offhanded line that you're supposed to like think like, oh, that's why all the adults were dicks, because they know these children are going to die, and what's it matter? They're going to have a hard life. Might as well let them suffer a little bit because they're not going to go peaceful. Something like that. And I find that to be like kind of just weird, right? Not that Stephen King isn't like infallible.
Yeah, I haven't seen something, I guess, something that implying that yet in the book, but again, it'll be really interesting to see like what they'll do, because I mean they've already based on another thing I kind of wanted to mention is, you know, we're not the only people who liked this movie, because this movie freaking blew up at the box office. It overall had a $35 million budget. The first weekend, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
The first weekend, it had a $123 million haul on its opening. Second weekend was $60 million. I mean, and it's still going.
Yeah.
So it's, I think people were definitely ready for, I guess after kind of a ho-hum August, people were, I think, definitely ready for something that was just good, that most reviewers said was good, and just a good and scary movie. And I just think it was. I mean, it's broken all kinds of records. Like I think it's one of the it's like the highest grossing. I mean, it's getting up there with like some of the highest grossing like R-rated movies ever. Like it's chasing, you know, the record set by like Passion of the Christ, and as far as horror, it is, you know, obliterated a bunch of the records. It's like the highest September movie to ever open. Like it's done pretty well. So they clearly are they've definitely like have greenlit a follow-up to this, because I mean, like likely going to be you know, focusing on the kids as they return when it comes back in another 27 years. So it'll be, I'm curious to see, like, I think the casting will be interesting. I'm worried. It's kind of, I think it's going to be a tough story to kind of wrap up, because a lot of what made this movie work and so endearing is the fact that they're kids. So I wonder, it's an interesting challenge. I mean, I think it'll be feel like a pretty different movie, but I'm pretty excited for that. So
I read a synopsis, and yes, it is very exciting that this movie was doing well. I mean, when I saw it, it was a second weekend, not the first weekend, and theater was still packed. I was still struggling to find seats, you know, and this was at like a smaller downtown theater in Oakland. So the movie is doing well. Yeah, I think that's undebatable. And I'm glad, because after, as I said, coming out of it, I was bored at first. The movie, 2.5 hours was a long...
It's a slow burn at times.
Yeah, but it had some firecrackers at the end. That last fight scene where the kids are just beating the shit out of Pennywise, get you all hot and bothered, because that's that facing your fear moment. and it's a great.
It's
payoff.
really good. Like all the stuff down there is real great, and like, man, yeah. I just from start to finish, I just really enjoyed. It was just a real. I mean, it was scary. It was scary AF, but it was really enjoyable. I really. It's. I feel like it's a horror movie that is gonna has a lot of like kind of mass appeal that you don't usually see with a horror movie. So
yeah, I think it's because like the general populace is quote unquote afraid of clowns, and I think the original movie like helped contribute to that. I also think it was Clowns from Outer Space. That B movie also helped. Maybe people don't know it, but whatever. That's me.
but yeah, I think kind of like you said, I think I probably give it a 4 out of 5 too. But as far as I mean, horror movies are always fun to see in theaters, and I think this was no exception. It was a blast seeing it in the theater, like getting scared with people, and like there's some really good like yes, oh yeah, like kind of moments that are always really like always super duper fun in a packed theater. So
the thing about seeing a horror
movie, the Creed got robbed thumbs up.
The thing about seeing a horror movie in the theater, which makes it the best experience, is because you're forced into an environment where it's a dark room and you can't pause it to like soak it in. You just have to. The director has set the pace, and you have to enjoy that pace or leave the theater. And so I think that you're absolutely right. That's the horror movie thing. Well, one final note. I'm glad because I read a synopsis about Beverly because one of my coworkers had like a issue with Beverly's portrayal in this movie, and she is hypersexual for a 12-year-old in the book, and that's even implied in the old 80s movie, and I'm personally glad to see that got toned the fuck down.
Yeah, there are definitely some things that some scenes that I've read from the book. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I get they probably will not put this in the film for good reason.
Yeah.
And I think that I think they definitely like it was definitely like something that the movie like definitely worked with, but I think they did it in a pretty decent way of showing like when she's at the drugstore and it's like, oh, these glasses make you look like Lois Lane. Just like, ugh.
Yeah,
like it was used effect. I think like it was used effectively as a means to convey the nature of the world.
Why does everyone in town want to fuck Beverly? What the fuck is wrong with everybody?
Yeah, because that's the real horror.
Is she the only woman in fucking town? What the hell was going on? I was like asking serious questions.
Just like hello? Anyone else here? Hello? But yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I think I don't know if it's yeah, well, I really liked it. It was super fun. I think it's really well made. I didn't mention it briefly, but I thought the score was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, the score that keeps your heart beating along with the once again, that projector scene. If you can find it on YouTube, because I haven't found it. If you can find it and watch the projector scene and just appreciate the music that's playing, that's setting so much gravity for the entire scene as well.
Yeah, I guess just final note here before we talk about our one other thing. What do you think was your favorite scare? The spookiest moment, the projector?
That was not only the best shot, that was the best piece of... I've been thinking about it for 2 weeks straight because I can't get out of my mind how beautiful that was.
Just as a scene, that it's so well, like...
The scare is perfect, and the anticipation is perfect, and then the constant clicking is just like, what is going to happen next?
Yeah, I mean, I think just from start to finish, it's so well, like... I mean, just like all the set work in this movie is like really good too. Like, just having like projectors and like a map, like they're kind of sleuthing it out.
Yeah.
And then, I think that might be number one. I think the one that was like I'm trying to think.
Yeah, what is your favorite?
It's either the projector. Or honestly, like one of the first one. I guess not. It's not I don't think it's my top one, but the scene when Georgie's in the basement at the very beginning of the movie, getting the getting the wax for the boat, and then he looks and just sees like those like little white beady eyes.
Yeah.
Like, and that's something that I think they always kind of like emphasize with Pennywise throughout the movies, that he just has like these little black like pits for eyes, like kind of past like the weird yellow things.
Deadlights is what they're called.
Yeah, and and just something about that was just like weird. It's like, ugh. I just thought it was just a really effective like kind of first little scare. But I think definitely.
Wait, were those actually eyes?
I mean, I don't know. That's kind of. I mean, it like when he turned on the light, it was just a bottle, but like it was just bottles. But like, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. It just, I don't know. It just like really worked as like a tone setting kind of thing, or like a little motif. But I think the one where Bill goes down to the basement and sees Georgie like in the corner, and then like, but then you see that like Pennywise is just using him as like a little like puppet thing. It's just
like an anglerfish.
And then like Bill gets, exactly. And then Bill like runs away, and then like Pennywise like slams his head on the stair, and it just like slinks back into the water. I'm just like, oh god, that it just really one really got me.
That's a good one as well, because the whole run animation that Pennywise, they have the character playing Pennywise use, it's obviously a little bit of CG, but it's done in such an uncanny valley, unnatural way. Your skin can't help but to crawl every time you see it. You might not be scared, but you're unsettled, and that's enough. You know, that's good horror direction. It's a great horror movie. Mm-hmm. Good horror movie. Also comedy of the year.
Very. I think it's very rewatchable too.
Oh yeah.
Like we might go see it again sometime before Halloween, and conveniently we can do that pretty easily, because I just wanted to drop some quick thoughts about something called Movie Pass, which you've probably heard about. Ray hadn't before, so I'm gonna kind of re-explain here. It's something we signed. It's like the easy comparison is it's the Netflix of going to the movies. And basically it's so Movie Pass just got a giant like venture capital injection, which is, you know, always a good thing for the consumer. That could never backfire. So they took their service where it would just like you can go to one movie every day at a movie theater. And it would just, and basically they send you a debit card, and you just check in on like their app, like, hey, I'm going to this movie, and then they give you the money on the debit card to pay for the ticket, and then you just buy your ticket. It used to be about $30-$40 a month, and it was pretty limited, but now they've rolled it out nationwide and dropped the price to about $9.99 per month. And so far, I mean, we've used it a couple of different times, and so far I really enjoyed it. I mean, you can't reserve ahead at every theater, but if you get there in advance and just you can still pick out the seats you want. I mean, with the pricing of the tickets in our area, it's kind of like we were talking about this earlier, Ray. Like, you got to get in while the getting's good, because
when we're done with this podcast, I'm signing up like it's nobody's business before the price hike, sir, because that's coming.
Yeah, and even if it does, you can always. It sounds like you can cancel any time. And so far, I've just really enjoyed it. I mean, it's because, my wife and I go to the movies quite a lot, so. And with our ticket, like with the ticket prices in our area, for like a non-matinee show, I mean, you're making your money back on one ticket, because like ours are like $12 or something.
Yeah.
So if it's cheaper to pay Movie Pass and just go to one movie a month than and still. So like if we usually go to the movies like 2 or 3 times a month, like at least. It's crazy.
You're just making bank at this point. You're taking them for a ride, is what you're doing.
Yeah, and honestly, like it's also kind of nice because it's kind of bad movie insurance too. So it's like normally I'd be like, I don't know if I want to see like this movie in theaters, but now it's like, well, I can just Movie Pass it, and if it if it wasn't super great, or if it was something I normally might just wait until home for, I can just go see it anyway. So far, I mean, I guess the only problem would just be, the time on getting your card. It might take a bit just because they're still trying to meet demand on that. But so far, I really don't have any complaints. Like, I just hope more theaters get like reserve like day of reserving, because some theaters they'll usually be the first ones on your app that will show up. We'll let you reserve that day of instead of at the theater. So you can just reserve your ticket in advance, and it's just there you go. It's awesome. So far I've been really enjoying it. So I'll keep the Creed Got Robbed family updated on that. But yeah, so far it's I think it's, if you feel like you go to the movies at least once a month, maybe, and if having it might make you go more, I think it's definitely worth checking out.
The price is so low. I feel like we're like sponsoring them. We're not sponsored by them, are we?
Not yet.
Contact us. You got our email, MoviePass.
You slide into my DMs, Mr. MoviePass.
Unscriptedgamecast@gmail.com.
I'm just saying, hey, I don't know if you're looking for it. I don't know.
But I sound like a shill for saying this, and I apologize in advance. But with prices this low, you'd be an idiot not to get it.
I mean, I was like, yeah, I was shilling the whole time, but that's fine. But then I was like, no, wait, actually, what Ray said sounds way worse.
That's some shilling.
That was some shilling.
You're shilling by being right, by saying if you go to the movies just once a month, then it's paid for itself. And
yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, that's the kind of crazy thing. Like, I mean, I don't.
How are they getting away with this?
It'll be interesting. I think that they're just scraping me for data, but the same way everything else is. So I guess the pitch that makes it valuable is that like X moviegoer is seeing Y kinds of movies, so you should make Z, and then that will attract, and like for hyper specific marketing / movie making, I think eventually they're going to try to leverage more income, like build up a critical mass of people using it, and then leverage some kind of strong arm the theaters a bit for more revenue sharing or something. So it'll be interesting. The big theater chains, like AMC. AMC I think is definitely the biggest chain. I think they're by far the largest in North America. They obviously are not fans because they're like, this is bad for moviegoers because the price might go up someday and then you'll get mad and not come to the movies. But honestly, like for us, like it just in my experience, it not having to pay for a ticket makes me a lot more likely to like get a beer at the theater or like maybe get a snack or something. So it's like just because we would go a lot, so we would kind of feel apprehensive to get snacks. But it's like if MoviePass people are not paying for their tickets, they might be more inclined to buy higher margin things from you. So
that's a good point.
But what do I know? I don't run a movie theater. Yeah.
I don't run a movie theater either, but I do know that when I walk in the door and you charge me $5 for a tiny bottle of water, you know damn well I'm not paying for anything on top of that.
Especially after you already bought a ticket.
It's like you're silly not to get MoviePass.com, people.
The price is this low. Ray will definitely shill for you forever.
It actually does sound like a good offer, and I am honestly signing up the moment we're done here. Yeah. Because
I think it's definitely worth a check out if you say you go to the movies somewhat. I mean, I don't think it's honestly like it's like a gym membership. They make money from people paying throughout the year and not using it, but it's just it's really cheap. Check it out.
Conspiracy theory. This is obviously, as you said, the Netflix of movie theater going, which, that's like saying this game was the Dark Souls of X.
I know. This is the Dark Souls of poker games. I
don't even know what game that would apply.
Neither do I.
Anyways, here's what I predict what would happen in about a year or two's time. the amount of movie theaters that support this will just drop off the fucking map, unless the price goes up. Because this honestly is too good.
And that's kind of the dark secret here of MoviePass is well, it's not the dark secret, it's the kind of hilarious secret. It's just a credit card. Like it's not like a rewards program, but it's an actual MasterCard. So unless the movie theaters want to stop taking MasterCard, then they just will have to kind of deal with MoviePass. I imagine that they'll try to I think I wouldn't be surprised at all if you see AMC come out with like a MoviePass like program, but you know, knowing big corporate company being pushed to do something that they don't want to do to reduce their profits, it's probably just going to be it's likely going to be an inferior service for a higher cost. So, I mean, if they really wanted to make it interesting, they would need to give like people who are sign up for the AMC subscription service, they would need to give them like full advance booking, like not even just day of, but like a week before or something. That would, if they did that, that would be something. And that's what if I was AMC and was freaked out about MoviePass, I'd do the same. I'd just make the same program, make it work at AMC theaters, maybe make it like $12 a month or something, but then just let people book like totally in advance, so they don't have to worry about showing up to the theater early or like getting it taken care of the same day. Like that's a huge leverage point that they have, and it would honestly be hilarious if they somehow, when they do come out with this service, if they bungle it and don't leverage that, which is what I totally expect them to do, because it's, it's 2017 and shit like that happens, okay? Cool. Well, I think that's all I got for Krieg Got Robbed here. You can find us in the usual places, in your usual feeds. Unscripted Gaming is the mothership where all of this comes from, and you can check us out on YouTube. And if you are subscribed to our podcast feed and the Unscripted Gaming one, this will likely be there shortly after, or in the same feed. So, Ray, thanks again so much for joining me to discuss it.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, folks. Well, we'll catch you next time, and don't forget that Krieg got robbed.